If you are on this path of trying to self-actualize, of trying to be your most authentic self and your happiest self, your loyalty needs to be to you and your soul first and foremost. You cannot compromise yourself and your authenticity for anyone. You're allowed to do those things until you figure out the core of who you are. Hi, my loves. Welcome back to Tiffany TV. We are like 2 weeks away from the new year and I am so excited. So I'm a little bit under the weather today. You might hear me sound a little nasally, a couple sniffle moments because I have a toddler who waits until I am putting his pants on and directing his face to just cough and sneeze right on me. Toddler mommies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it finally caught up to me. And today I have my lemon, ginger, and manuka honey tea by Puka. So good. The spiciness of the ginger, it's exactly what I need right now. So because we're about 2 weeks away from the new year, I wanted to drop a video. I think once this video drops will be a week and a half out. I wanted to kind of recap everything we talked about in these last, about 6 months that we've been doing these videos together. Narrow it down to a few points that I feel we need to focus on going into the new year. These 5 points that I'm going to give you are something that we've discussed in a video at some point up until now, but I really want to hone in on these 5 things that I feel will really help you to self-actualize and to be your best version when it comes to 2024. These are the things that I've applied to my life on a daily basis to help me hear myself better, hear God better, and just get in tune with what is for me. And so I hope that narrowing this down and kind of honing in gives us something to focus on. I know that there's a lot of videos now. It's good to say that because at one point I had like 2 or 3 videos to refer to. So it's good to say we have a nice chunk of videos that you can go back to. But if you're looking for what to focus on for 2024, I hope that this serves as a roundup and kind of narrows in on what you can really focus on. So really quickly, I've also dropped a digital version of my I'm listening cards to all of my loyal supporters outside of the United States. I know I'm sorry that I don't ship internationally yet. As a small business, it is really expensive right now, so I'm working my way up to it. I dropped a digital version so that you can have access to the journal prompts as well. I'll link it below. I pulled a card from my deck to set the intention for today's video. What has been my most profound lesson this year? That's a good one. I feel like we always focus on what's next and what we're going to do next year, but really looking over this year and looking at what we did, what we can do differently, and the things we can shift and change so that we have different outcomes next year. I think that's so important. Okay, so number 1, you are allowed to make mistakes. Please do not go through life trying to avoid the mistakes. I feel like we're always thinking about what can go wrong, what might go wrong. We're trying to avoid the process of failures, and it's in the failures that you learn so much about yourself. And to be honest, I don't know that I really believe in mistakes. You may do something that later on you're like, that wasn't my best decision. You may want to apologize to people. Maybe you did something that hurt someone and you didn't see it in that moment. But I think in the moment we're doing the best that we can. And if we're not doing the best that we can, if we are intentionally trying to hurt someone or intentionally procrastinating or not doing the things we need to do, then that's just something we need to look at for ourselves. But I don't think anything is a mistake because it's all showing you something. Showing you where you need to learn, where you need to grow, something about someone else. It may teach you a lesson. I don't believe in mistakes. There's not a lot of things that I've been through or that I've done that I would take back because all of it, even when I've done something that in the end offended someone or hurt someone, I learned something about myself. I grew from it. And there's a difference between being able to apologize and regret and feeling like it's a mistake or something that you need to go back and do over. Everything that happens works together for our good. Honestly, the lowest moments and the moments that I have been the most embarrassed or nervous or scared or acted out of fear, those are the things that taught me where I needed to work on myself. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, and especially going into this new year, as you may want to embark on new things, try new things, start new things, trying to avoid mistakes, trying to be perfect, being a perfectionist is absolutely going to hinder your work. It's going to hinder your focus. It's honestly going to stop you from even wanting to start. So each month I feature a book on my website. Last month was Worthy by Jada, which was such a great read. We can get into that in a whole nother video. But this month's feature is The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. I read this during the summer. I think I read it in June, right before I really honed in on, the direction of my channel and rebranding. It was so helpful in me rebranding because he spoke to not being afraid of doing things and people not understanding, not being afraid of how it's going to be perceived, and not narrowing down your process before you begin. He speaks about just trying all the things, lay it all out. In the past, when I used to brainstorm, I would start editing my brainstorm down. I'd be like, don't write that. That sounds stupid. Or that sounds really similar to the one above. It was just one word difference. After reading that book, I wrote everything down. I didn't care how similar it sounded. I didn't care how silly it sounded, how cliche it sounded, how outrageous it sounded. I brainstormed everything I was thinking about, every little idea. And in doing that, I would take pieces from this thing and pieces from this thing. And that's how I came up with my mission statement for my brand. And then when I was looking at what I wanted to put into my bio and what I wanted to put into the cards, what did I want to name the cards? I started just brainstorming all types of things. The whole point of me saying this is that he opened up my mind to just allowing myself to just be free and to make mistakes and to feel silly and to put something out there that I really enjoy, but that people may not love, as long as it came from my soul, as long as it came from something that I really wanted to create and that I really feel good about. That's the point. Express yourself and to allow the things that are trying to come through you to come through you. And so I will say that book was a huge part of me rebranding this year. And I don't only want to say rebranding because I don't want it to sound so much about career. It really just was about me honing in on my purpose and honing in on the creative things and the artful things that do come through me. Like, for instance, a perfect example is the videos that I would do with me just kind of showing off my outfit and standing there. But then I would take my voiceovers from these videos and I would put it over that video. At first, I was like, it's going to make no sense. I think there was one person who did comment,
what does the visual have to do with what you're saying?
Honestly, when I was going to do it, I was like, does this make sense? Does this tie in? But then I was like, it just feels good for me. It expresses who I am. I love taking care of myself physically. I love fashion. I love hair. I love beauty. But I also am very, very deep, and I want to talk about the things that are going to not only make us look good on the outside, but feel good and be beautiful on the inside. All of that makes me me. And so the right people are going to be attracted to it. And the right people are going to get the message and understand that what I'm trying to convey is being a spiritual being doesn't mean you also can't be that girl. I say all that to say, he talks about not editing yourself down before you have even given yourself a chance to just express. Give yourself the freedom of making mistakes. Laugh at your mistakes. Rub yourself on the back. Ask yourself, how could I have done better? Be willing to apologize if you made a mistake that hurt someone. I want to say offended someone. When I say offended someone, I'm not talking about if you say something you truly mean and then it offends someone. No. But if you are just in a bad mood or if you were just not in your right headspace. I keep saying for the first 2 years after having a child, I was just cloudy. There was so much I was doing in that time that I look back on and I'm like, I don't like the way that I was thinking and acting. But I was doing the best that I could at that time. Right? And what I do know is that the people that love me and that understand me were understanding that I was a new mom and I was getting acclimated, and those are the people that I care about. And as long as they know, then I'm good. And there were times where I had to talk to my husband and apologize, or after coming out of it, just have conversations with my loved ones. I was really in a daze and in a different space, So that's what I mean by offended someone. It's if you were not in your right space, it's okay to apologize and just explain that I just was not in a good space. But not if someone's offended by who you are. We don't apologize for that. You're just going to be offended. And just a little bonus add-on to this one, don't be afraid to start over. Mistakes or redirection just might lead you down a different path. And I know a lot of us are scared to start over. We're scared to drop what we're doing or what we've poured so much energy into. But paying attention to when something is no longer for you, when you've done all you can in a space, and either one, it just doesn't feel good. This is not anything you're excited about anymore. Or maybe you've committed yourself to something that you've never been excited about. Maybe you were never excited about this thing and you were doing it again for someone else, to make parents happy, to make family happy, to impress other people. And if that's the case, if you are in a space of being somewhere where you no longer feel attracted to, where you no longer are giddy about, and you're not even giddy about the outcome at the end of this thing, do not be afraid to start over, okay? Mishaps and missteps may take you somewhere you don't want to be, and it's okay to be like, ooh, I realized I took a detour. Let me get back on track. Start over as many times as you need to, no matter your age, no matter how far you are in a career, if what makes you feel comfortable is making a plan and saying within a year I'm going to be out of here, I need to have this much in my account, then that is on you. Some of us, I'm a risk taker. I'm more like my soul can't do it here anymore. I'm definitely more intuition led, kind of like I'll figure it out. God will show me the way. And it has always worked out that way for me. And some of us just need a little more, tip tap toe. That's fine. However you decide, just know that if you are in a space that no longer feels like for you and you're being pulled somewhere else, you need to start making strides towards that thing. That's all I'm saying. Staying is going to end up being another mistake. You will continue to feel that feeling and it will only get stronger. It may go away for a second, maybe when you get a promotion at that job or that relationship that you're supposed to leave or friendship. Maybe they do something nice for a moment, but it's going to come back around. Okay, it's going to come back around. The feeling's going to come back around, whether it be now or it be 20 years from now when you realize you're in the same space and 20 years ago you knew you wanted to do something else. So start over as many times as you need to. You have one life. Let's make the most of it. You don't have time to waste. Okay, let's enjoy this life. Okay, now this perfectly leads into number 2, which is what is meant for you will not miss you. The part that we don't often say. You can receive divine guidance. You can receive the little intuition. You can see that you're attracted to something, be thinking about it, be daydreaming about it. Know that you want to do it. But if you do not take any action, if you don't take any inspired action, you can do all the praying, all the meditating, journaling, vision board, visualizing. You can do all the things. But there's an important step in between the asking for, praying for, manifesting, visualizing, and the bringing it to life. And that important step is that you're going to get these inklings of things to do. And I call that inspired action. I feel like that is something that comes through us. That's something that comes from above us, from God, from the creator, from the universe. When you pray, when you ask for something, and then all of a sudden you have this idea to do something, to go somewhere, or you get a call to go somewhere, invited, something that may happen out of the norm, something you weren't thinking about before. A lot of times it's things you already had access to, and now it just comes to your awareness. If you decide to sit on the couch and not go after it for a year, 5 years, 10 years, that's a decision that you are making. There's been times that I've been like, well, what about somebody pops into your head that's maybe not living the life that they love? You know they don't love it because they're complaining about it all the time and they're unhappy. That might be you. You might be that person that's just not happy where you're at. And you're like, well, I have prayed, but nothing has happened. A key part of bringing those things to life is the actions that you take. It's not about boots to ground. It's about taking divine steps. And if you don't do the things that you know you need to be doing or that you're being pulled to do, it's not that what's for you missed you. It's that you're missing it. It's there. You're not grabbing it. You're not doing your part. I do think certain things you do pray for and you are still, and you allow God to work. You allow the universe to work. You allow things to fall into place. And there have been magnificent moments where you don't have to do much. But I couldn't pray for this deck of cards or for my website and then not look for a website designer, or in this case, I designed my own website. I couldn't pray for these cards to come about, but I'm not sitting down and creating them. There's action steps that have to be taken. So I wanted to break that part down because for some of us that have been struggling for a while, I want you to understand that we have to do our parts after we pray. The answer is going to come, but sometimes what we need to do is something we don't want to do. It took work to do that website, like weeks and late nights and figuring out things that I didn't even know about, and asking questions and emailing people back and forth, right? Like that, I don't want to do that part. It was an experience. I grew, I learned so much, and I know so much about it now. I love the result. I am so excited about the result, but it took me to stretch myself a little bit. Some of us want health, but we don't want to change what we eat and we don't want to work out. We have to take the actions that we are being inspired to do, even when it feels hard. If you want something different, you got to do something different, right? So what's for us will never miss us. It's always there for us. We just have to believe, get into a better mindset, and take the inspired action that we are being guided to take. We just have to do our parts. We can't expect more, and we can't expect a fulfilling life if we are not doing anything towards it, if we're not taking any type of steps. Sometimes God won't tell you to do the thing yet until he sees that you are in a space to do it, in a mental space to do it, in a spiritual space to do it. The creator knows us better than we know ourselves. And so we may be thinking, well, as soon as I know what I got to do, I'm going to do it. But until then, I'm going to binge watch this show for the whole week. Now, I am a binger. I'm a TV girl, okay? I love my shows, my movies. I watch the same shows over and over and over. I'm on season 8 of Grey's Anatomy, again, for like the 17th time. But one thing I'm gonna do is do what I gotta do, okay? Then I can watch my shows in peace. But if you're wasting all your time and you're not pouring into yourself and taking care of yourself and showing that you appreciate your life and that you want more from your life, God's waiting for you to be ready. You're missing it. It's not missing you. It's waiting for you. It's literally just standing there like this. You let me know. So what you gonna do? What changes are we gonna make? What things are we gonna upgrade? What habits are we gonna implement? What can we do right now before everything gets here to prepare ourselves, to put ourselves in a better space? Keep our words to ourselves with the little things we have to do right now. Before you ask for that responsibility of whatever you're asking for, can you keep your word to yourself now? Can you start showing that you have discipline so that when those things come, you already have those skills? How can you prepare right now so that those things reveal themselves to you? Number 3, being a little bit selfish is necessary. Put yourself first. Can we please unpack the idea that putting yourself first means neglecting everybody else? This idea of martyrdom and completely neglecting yourself in order for you to be a good fill in the blank, a good mom, a good wife, a good human being, a good friend, it's ridiculous. If you can't see it, I'm living proof of it. I am a super mom and a super wife after I've had time to just hear myself, take care of myself. Whether my husband takes my son and I just meditate for an hour and take my shower and get myself together for the morning, or on the days that I'm here by myself with Ev, getting up earlier than him so I can take my shower, meditate, maybe work out, make breakfast before he's up. Those moments to myself allow me to be present when I am with my husband and with my child. I'm not in my head thinking about the list of things I want to do. I take that time to organize myself, to get my thoughts out, to deal with my feelings. If I'm not feeling so great that day for whatever reason, got things on my mind, on my heart, if I can get it all out and I can hear myself, even if when I go down I'm still not feeling so great, I now know why I'm not feeling so great or that I'm not feeling so great, so I can communicate that. Time to myself allows me to hear myself and to show up better. And so this idea of the only way to love other people is by putting yourself last is old, it's outdated. I don't stand behind it at all. There are moments where you're gonna have to put yourself on a back burner, like when your child is sick or when he gets up in the middle of the night or he gets up earlier than I expect him to. You know, those days we gotta skip out a little bit, and what I'll still do and what I'm training him for right now is to know mommy has boundaries and mommy also needs her time. So while he's having breakfast, he sits down with his water and his waffles and his food, and I'm sitting at the dining room table. I'll have my tea and just do a quick journaling session. I may not be able to sit down and meditate and do the most, but I make sure that I'm at least getting a moment to myself. And if he's done breakfast before I am done journaling and having my tea, I am reminding him over and over and over. And when I say over and over and over, daily, consistently, so that he understands it. Mommy needs her me time for a second. You know, you've had your breakfast. Mommy took care of you, brushed his teeth, went to the potty. Now I need you to sit and play with Chase and Marshall, Paw Patrol, and give mommy a moment. And when I'm done here, we can play and we can get into it. I feel like this is where you start to let them know I'm a human being and I need time. I need a moment. Of course he's taken care of. My favorite saying, and it's the perfect metaphor and visual, is you can't pour from an empty cup. You literally are pouring out air. Is it possible that you can fill yourself up so much that it overflows the cup and is pouring into other people? You are so happy and full that now they get that joy. They get to feel that as well. That's possible for you. You know, if anybody's listening to this and you can't see that, I pray that you get over that idea and just know it's not your fault, because we've been fed the idea that putting ourselves first, it makes you the worst person. It makes you a super selfish person. But a little bit of selfishness goes a long way. And being able to say, I need a moment to myself. I need to think. I need to relax. I need to reset. You know, a lot of moms and wives are on this hamster wheel and they never get a moment for themselves. And for some women, that works. But for those that it does not work for, that feel overwhelmed and overworked and like you have nothing for yourself, make time for yourself. It is absolutely necessary. I make sure that my husband has time for himself. He golfs. So we talk about our schedule, and I make sure that during the week he has a day to himself to get work done or to go golf or to just have a moment. And if I'm taking the morning to work and take care of myself, after Ev's nap, I'll take over and he has the afternoon to just do whatever, whether he wants to scroll, whether he wants to do work, he wants to go out and go to the gym, whatever. So ladies, gentlemen, whoever is watching this, find time for yourself. It is so necessary for you to show up in your relationships healthily and knowing who you are, knowing what your boundaries are, knowing what you need, knowing what you need to work on. It's vital and it's pertinent to living our own individual version of our best life. Número 4. Where your attention goes, energy flows. Okay, we have a choice of where we choose to focus our attention, the things we choose to look at, to watch, to repeat in our minds, to journal on, to talk about. How many times have you gone through something that you deem negative, something that didn't feel good? Instead of you allowing yourself to be angry and then calming down, taking a moment to breathe, and then going into solution mode or focusing on what you want to be happening right now. How many times have you called multiple people, told them the story? Every time you talk to somebody, you're repeating the story. You keep replaying the story back in your head. You keep talking about it. You've been talking about this thing for a week. It's done. You choose to keep reliving the moment. And now you're spreading it. And now you're getting more people to be like,
girl, I know that is horrible. That is just terrible. Oh my God, this world is so hard. This is hard. That is.
And you just keep spiraling down and telling the same story. We are never saying that bad things are not going to happen or things that we deem bad or not ideal, that they're not going to happen. They're going to happen. It's life, right? Where we choose to focus on, whether we choose to say, I'm going to let myself feel what I feel. I feel angry, whether I'm going to give myself this day, I'm taking the day off, I'm not doing anything else, whatever. Or you decide to dwell on that and feed it and keep reliving it and keep making yourself angry. You can choose to have a moment and then move past it. And when I say move past it, it doesn't mean it's over. Some things have, lasting consequence, things you got to deal with. If you're in a car accident, now you got to figure out what's going to happen with your car. Do you get a new one? Are you going to take it to the mechanic, right? But feeling what you feel and then going into solution mode and starting to picture the ideal situation that can come out of this. How can we fix this? What is the ideal solution? How do I want to feel? Because I don't want to keep reliving this story. It happened. I was very angry or hurt or sad, but I don't want to keep feeling that. We've trained ourselves to do that for so long, to stay in it and keep talking about it and repeat it to everybody who will listen, to our coworkers, to the person at the store that asks us, how's our day going?
Man, going good, better than yesterday. Yesterday I got into a car accident.
Okay, it happened. But what if I told you you don't have to tell everybody? What if I told you there's some things that happen to you that you don't have to tell anybody? That was something for me to learn. I used to have the habit of, if I was going through anything, someone had to know. Someone had to know. Before my husband, it was my friends or my mom. I've gotten to a point now where I'm like, unless it is vital, unless it is affecting them, unless it's something I need assistance with, there's some things it happened, I'm gonna keep it to myself. There was like a little mishap when I was doing my website that normally I would have complained about it. I would have went and told my husband. I would have sulked. I would have stopped doing what I was doing. I took a moment. I took a breather. I walked away, and then I came back and I found a solution. And I was like, I didn't have to tell a soul. What if I told you we are so trained to just spread? We're trained to commiserate. I'm not telling you don't tell your family anything or you don't vent to get advice, and that there's not moments where you just want to talk and you just want to have a conversation. But when you start to pull back on how many negative things you talk about, you're going to realize how many relationships you have that are built on commiserating and built on complaining. And that complaining keeps you in the same cycle. And that person is probably in that cycle. That's why if you've ever seen the meme that says, sit at the table with go-getters and dreamers and people that are making things happen, because the conversations are different. When you have the habit of, and you are so used to having similar issues, similar financial issues, similar issues making things you want come true, gossip about friends and family members, when you are so used to that, it feels like that is just what life is. Until you get into a circle of people that are talking about dreams and talking about possibility, taking your issues and saying, well, here, have you tried this? Or, well, don't focus on that. What else can we focus on? Don't think about it too much. Let's put that to the side. Let's go do something to get your mind off of it. Like, those are the rooms you want to be in. And if you've never seen that, and if you've never experienced that, it feels like it's an attack on your character for someone to say, don't call everybody telling them your problems. It feels like that is just a rite of passage. Like when something goes wrong, you just have to tell people. You just have to keep thinking about it. You have to keep yourself in that cycle, and you don't. You don't. You get to say, I went through this. Okay, now I want to focus on something good. I want to focus on something good coming out of this, or the best possible solution. And I don't want to bring other people's energy into it. So I'm not going to. You have that option. Sit on that. Sit on that. Where your attention goes, energy flows. Focus on what you want to come to life. Focus on all of your biggest dreams, even the smallest dreams. Focus on it. Close your eyes, feel it. Light a candle and have a sip of wine or a sip of tea and really write things out in detail that you want to see come to life. Watch documentaries of inspiring people. Read inspiring books. Put yourself in spaces with people that are winning and that want to win. Really become intentional about focusing majority of your attention on things that you want to see grow in your life. Focus on wealthy people if that's what you want. Focus on happy people. That's why vision boards are important. That's why journaling is important. Speaking things into existence is important. Prayer and speaking out loud and hearing yourself say it. Now I want you to be conscious of when you pick up that phone to call somebody and complain. Pick up that phone to call somebody and tell them about the bad thing that happened. What if you pick up the phone and tell them about the good thing that happened? Pause and hesitate to call people and tell them about negative things. And then see how many people are calling you to tell you about that so y'all can be in that cycle together. I pray that this now opens something up in you and that you are now conscious of it, because those little moments are how you continue to bring those things, those feelings, those energies into your life, and how you keep it flowing. And when you are trying to get to a better space, when you want to experience more peace and joy and happiness, those little moments that feel like just a normal moment because you're so used to it, those are the moments that are bringing that energy back and bringing you back down. You can do all the work. You can meditate and be happy. And then if you are calling someone or someone is calling you to always dump negativity, that is bringing you right back down. So start thinking about that. What are you focusing on? What are you talking about? How are you using your words to speak into your life? Noticing when you're focusing or thinking about or rethinking about something that happened years ago or just the other day. There's things I replay in my mind from years ago, and I have to stop myself like, girl, no, let's come back. What are we thinking about? And I'll start going over my mantras and going over the things that my goals right now and the things that I'm excited about and the good things that are happening. I pray that I put a little bug in your ear, and I pray that this starts to make you conscious of what you're focusing your attention on. And I saved the best for last. Number 5, being you is the sauce. I feel like so many of us are just running from ourselves. We are just trying to change all the things that make us us, hide the things that feel weird and quirky and that make us stand out a little bit. And I don't blame you. I get it, because I was you and I'm healing through that now, and I want you to heal through that too. All the parts you're trying to hide and keep secret and keep tucked away are what make you you. And that is the thing that is going to lead you to happiness and to joy and to fulfillment, is allowing those things to be expressed. Whether that be, you don't have to put it on a platform. You don't have to share it with the world. But if you are intentionally hiding it, that is doing something to your soul. That is you telling yourself that you're not enough. You telling yourself that you're weird. You telling yourself that that thing is something to be shameful about. Okay, other people have said that to you maybe. Other people have made you feel that way. But you don't have to keep repeating that story to yourself. Even if the things you're shoving away are things you are ashamed of and things you want to change. Ignoring things, shoving them away, does not make them go away. If we can commit to allowing things to come up, to giving them attention and saying, is this something that I'm hiding because of what other people are going to think? Or is this something I'm shoving away because it's something I'm genuinely ashamed of, I'm not proud of, and that's something you have to work on and something you have to heal? But shoving yourself down and trying not to listen to what this right here keeps calling for. In the chakra world, where they say you have energy centers in your body, this is called your solar plexus, and this is where the center of your power is. So when you feel those things coming up, when you feel that feeling in your gut like you're ignoring something or you want to put something away, it's because you are literally, quite literally, making yourself less powerful. You are pushing your powers away. If you've been here with me for these 6 months, then you know that I shoved parts of myself away for way too long. My sensitivity and being an empath, shoved it away and tried not to be it. And it turns out that that is my superpower. My power of being able to see things from multiple sides. And then I try my best to talk to both sides and be like, hey, here's what we're all trying to say. And here's where we're all trying to get. I used to be frustrated that when I would look at a problem, I can argue both sides of something. I used to be frustrated because I felt like I was indecisive. And I used to come down on myself about that, kind of making myself feel like I was sketchy or something like that. My friend said this to me: I'm able to break walls down. I'm able to break things down in a way that is digestible. And now I see it as my power. But I ignored it for so long and I pushed things away because of what I labeled it in my mind, instead of just allowing myself to be expressed and allowing what my soul is trying to tell me to come out. You are the sauce. Everything that you bring to the table, when you decide something is no longer for you, then you release it and you bring upon the new thing. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to shed. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to say this is no longer for me. You're allowed to say that I loved that yesterday and I no longer love that today. You're allowed to do those things until you figure out the core of who you are, until you figure out how you feel good expressing yourself. Please don't dumb yourself down for anyone, for anything. Okay, you deserve to fully express yourself. And I pray that you going into this new year that you stand on this, that you stand on learning who you are and allowing yourself to be expressed and coming to terms with the fact that anyone you lose in being who you truly are, anything you lose, anyone who turns away or walks away from you expressing your heart and expressing what is true to you, that person, that thing is not meant for you. And if they do walk away and there's someone who's meant for you, who just, maybe they're shocked by this new side of you or this new thing you put out or this new thing you do. If they're meant to be there, they will come around. And you have to trust in something bigger. You have to trust in the fact that this thing was given to you. This thing was shown to you. You are attracted to it for a reason. You have to trust that what is meant to be will be. Who is meant to be will be. And what is my favorite phrase? You can cry, you can grieve, you can go through it, you can feel your emotions. But if you are on this path of trying to self-actualize, of trying to be your most authentic self and your happiest self, your loyalty needs to be to you and your soul first and foremost. You cannot compromise yourself and your authenticity and the things you truly need in order to feel at peace for anyone. And anyone that compromises that, anyone who's not willing to hear you out through that or to grow with you through that, then they are not meant to be on your journey. I'm praying that this roundup kind of summarizes so much of what we talked about. And just know you deserve to heal through all the things and that you don't have to walk in your trauma and the things you've been through. You can grow. You can be the best version of yourself. And I hate that meme that goes around that says, we know, new year, new you, blah, blah, blah. I love fresh starts. I feel a fresh start each week, each month. And so why wouldn't I feel that for the year? And when you are truly committed to growth, wanting to make the next year better than the last, or at least as good, and continuing to grow in yourself and continuing to grow as a human being, in your career, in your relationships, it is a beautiful goal to have. So I hope this helps you to set yourself up for a successful 2024, whatever that means to you, whatever successful means to you. And yeah, I just pray that it serves as a little bit of a guiding light and permission to go after all of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe down here and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any uploads. I have one more video for the new year to help you get organized and let you know how I really organized this self-actualization journey for myself, how I'm keeping track of my habits and the books I've read and my daily goals in my personal life and in my career. I'm going to go through a full video and show you exactly how I do that. But until we meet next time, keep living in love, in light, and in your truth. Mwah. Bye. Monday, tune in on Tuesday,
Wednesday.